A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Manchester Aquatics Centre. We are here for the Manchester International Swim Meet, and we are delighted to be here. Here's a message from the Lord Mayor.
Hello, I'm Councillor Tommy Judge, and as the Lord Mayor of Manchester, I'm delighted to be sending you this greeting on behalf of everybody in the city. It is an honour and a privilege to have this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to all elite swimmers competing at this year's Manchester International Swim Meet, albeit in these difficult and unprecedented times for us all. I am sure this well-established annual event at the Manchester Aquatic Centre will see some top-class performances over the course of the next few days. This great event venue is a legacy of the Manchester Commonwealth Games in 2002 and is not only home of the GB Paralympic swim team but also records over 1 million visits every year, showing that elite swimmers can train successfully alongside the general public. With the Olympic and Paralympic Games drawing ever closer, I hope this competition provides each of you with the best platform to allow you to achieve your ambitions in Tokyo. I'm also sure you will join me in thanking the many referees and officials, management workforce, volunteers, contractors who have all worked tirelessly to make this event happen. The city is also proud that this event sees once again the bringing together of a well-established partnership with Manchester City Council and Manchester Active, British Swimming, the City of Manchester Swim Team, Greenwich Leisure as the facilities operator and Arena as the sponsor. Unfortunately for me, but understandably in these restricted times, I am not able to attend the event to meet you personally, but I am sending my sincere best wishes to those of you competing and all who are involved. Finally, and in better times, I hope to see you again in Manchester very soon. Goodbye for now and best of luck to you all. Take care.
Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Very good evening, good afternoon, maybe even good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the Manchester Aquatic Centre. Welcome to the Manchester International Swim Meet 2021. If you weren't with us this morning for the heats, you missed a great session. It was lovely to be back, most of all. I think that was the overriding emotion from just about everyone here at the pool as swimming takes its first tentative strokes back towards something like a normality. This event, in association with Department Culture and Media and Sport guidelines, only elite athletes participating. It's usually an enormous event, this one, with hundreds of athletes. Not so this weekend, and we can't wait, of course, till those events can start to return. But for now, it is our elite pathway athletes, those who are hoping to secure a spot on either the Olympic or Paralympic team for Tokyo later on this summer. Saw a couple of brilliant races earlier on. We saw Adam Peaty in action, back in action for the first time since becoming a father on these shores. So James Wilby, James Guy, Molly Renshaw, Georgia Davies, some of the big names of British swimming. And in the para swimming front, we saw some fantastic swims. We actually saw 2 British records. Big congratulations to Ellie Chalice and Jordan Catchpole, setting new British records in the S3 50 backstroke for Ellie and the S14 50 freestyle for Jordan. And we're not too far away from welcoming out our athletes. The officials are on their way out in a moment as well. Feel free to get in touch with us. Hashtag MISM2021. Love to know where you're watching from, who you're supporting. Generally, we had some great racing earlier on and just excited to have an event again. Be poolside. It really is an honour and a privilege to be here. I'm Stephen Jameson. I'll be guiding you through all the action this weekend from a stripped back event here in Manchester. It is a bubble event. Everyone kept at the same hotel under the same conditions. It's brought out a wee bit of camaraderie. The referee's just getting introduced. And the officials are out and on pool deck, which means we are not too far away from our first race. Got a good slate of races for you this evening as well. We'll kick off as we did this morning with the 400 frees for both the women and the men. And we start with the women's race. We've got two races in the women's freestyle finals. First up, the A final, and then what's listed as the B final, but is in effect a para-swimming 400 freestyle, with Grace Harvey, Zara Maluli, Maisie Summers-Newton and Ellie Simmons going head-to-head. We'll then have the men's 400 free and the men's multi-class 400 free as well. We've got women's 50 metre backstroke action. We've also got the men's 200 backstroke, where we'll see Luke Greenbank go. Women's 200 fly is then followed by the men's 100 metres fly. 200 breast for women, 100 breast for the men, and then 50 freestyles to round off the evening. Swimmers making their way out onto the pool deck for our first race. Taryn Van Selm swam really well earlier on. Got herself a good lane draw off the back of that. Holly Hibbert in lane 4. She looked like she'd never been away. Originally from this neck of the woods, Stockport Metro swimmer for many a year, Holly Hibbert, before moving down to the Bath National Centre. She's swum in this pool countless times. Knows it like the back of her hand. And it looked like it as well earlier on this morning. Swam really smoothly. Leah Crisp in lane 5 won her heat. Almost ready to get underway with the racing. Colbert, Slevin, Van Selm, Hibbert, Crisp, Deering, Wizard. And away we go. It's a roaring start from Holly Hibbert, who does tend to like to lead from the front. Always attacks a race so well. It's one of her biggest strengths. Out on the far side, a really lovely start in lane 1 as well from Freya Colbert, the youngster from Nova Centurion. Been on the up and coming for a number of years now as Freya. Part of that next generation which is hoping to make it through into national squads and international meets on the world stage. The leading lady in this race knows all about that. Holly Hibbert has been winning titles galore at regional and national level for a number of years. And she's matured into the swimmer that a lot of people thought she would be. Britain has had some very, very good middle distance swimmers over the years in these events, likes of Jazz Carlin. Holly looking to follow in those footsteps. And she leads fairly comfortably and handily as we approach the halfway stage. 150 in and a second and a half, best part of, in front of Leah Chris. Tamara Van Salm again going well. She's in third. Freya Colbert just settled back into the pack, really. It's as you'd expect in terms of the seeding from the heats earlier on. Difficult to really know and difficult to gauge just how swimmers took the heats this morning. This is for many of them, their first competitive race since last March when lockdown began for the first time. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that feels like a very, very long time ago. Some of our swimmers were swimming out in the ISL recently. That's a short course event, don't forget. And the first time they're swimming in an Olympic pool, racing other swimmers for the first time since March last year. Huge gap, and different things to be expected, I think, from all of our swimmers, depending on where they are with their training and how they're feeling. The vast majority of the swimmers here have been training pretty hard. There's the big break when lockdown 1 happened, but since securing that elite status with the DCMS, a lot of swimmers have been able to train and keep training, but without really an event to go for, which is always such a problem. I've been swimming on the hope of a games or the hope of a championships. This is the first one, the return. Delighted to have it. Holly Hibbert, as I mentioned at the start, even more so now, looking like she's never been away. Such a strong swimmer. She can swim 800 really, really well, and I think that just shows in the 400. She just has that extra power, really. Wonderful middle distance swimmer is Holly Hibbert. Swims 2, 4 and 8 all so well. Very difficult thing to do that, to have the endurance of an 800 and the power of a 200 combined beautifully here in the 4. Holly Hibbert into the final 10 metres or so, and this is going to be a very, very strong performance from Bath National Centre's Holly Hibbert. 4:11.97, cruised home. Leah Crisp in second place, Alice Deering in third. Leah and Alice both under their time this morning. Holly Hibbert actually a little bit outside it. She swam quicker this morning. Such was her domination, but a couple of good swims in the bank for Holly Hibbert. Be pleased with her day's work. An excellent start for the former Stockport Metro swimmer. First race in the books then, and that is the official result. Holly Hibbert tops the tree with 4:11.97. Leah Crisp in second. Alice Deering in third. Almost all the swimmers bar one going under 4:20. Freya Colbert, though, the one who did knock 4 seconds off her time from this morning, which I think she'll be pleased with. 2-minute gap, by the way, in between all of our races. For those not too sure what the delay is, It's followed on from this morning. We have a gap for all of our races tonight, just to make sure the pool deck and the shared areas are comprehensively cleaned ahead of time. There's the great Ellie Simmons. Great to see Ellie still training and still competing. Wondered if 2019 would be her last hurrah. I'm delighted it hasn't been. Loved watching Ellie for a number of years, and I know she's such a great inspiration to so many, not least the young lady in lane 5 there, Maisie Summers-Newton, who is now a world champion. Wonderful event back in London in 2019. Maisie owns the world record in the 200 individual medley. And came 5th in the 400 freestyle in that World Championships. Elsewhere, we've got Zara Maluli, who's an S10 swimmer from Northampton. And Grace Harvey, who swam really, really well earlier actually, did Grace. S6 swimmer from Hoddesdon. So Grace swims in the same para-swimming sport class as Maisie and Ellie. So even though it is a multi-class race, those three are pretty easy to judge because they're all racing each other in terms of the time. Zara will finish quickest. There's not too much doubt about that. She will be racing the clock. S10 swimmer. Feels like Zara's been around on the scene for ages. Same with Maisie, both still so young. Both got their best years ahead of them, which is a fantastic prospect. This was for so long Ellie Simmons' event. She's going pretty handily in lane 6 alongside Maisie Summers-Newton, but Grace Harvey looking great. And I thought this morning, Grace seems to have made some leaps and bounds since training at the National Centre. It really is a world-class field for the S6s when you consider the talent in lanes 5 and 6, and for Grace Harvey to be going not only toe-to-toe with them, but also, well, at this point, well ahead of them. That is some statement from the Hoddesdon Summit. There's no medals for tonight's swims, by the way, those of you who might be wondering. In some ways it is a de facto time trial, as it were. It is an open meet and swimmers will certainly be going for the wins. No doubt about that, but their main focus will be on their own personal times. Zara Maluli coming up to towards the 300 metre mark here. She is a British record holder in this event. Set that in the World Championships in London in 2019. 4:34.91 is her British record. She's about 10 seconds off that this morning. Obviously, with it being a 400 race, even with the sort of large break between races, it's not uncommon, I should say, to see swimmers take it a little bit easier in the heat. Zara's really going quite well here. Also difficult for her to swim out on their own. The S6 swimmers at the other end just turning into their final 100 metres. And this may be where the quality and the durability of Simmons and Summers-Newton comes through. They're just starting to overhaul Grace Harvey. You'll see them there overtaking. But Zara Maluli is going to bring this one in. Just ticking over her British record time now, so that just shows how quickly she swam in that race. But this has been a fine return from Zara Maluli to competition. In she comes. 4:44.65. 846 multi-class points. She was chasing Aurélie Rivard's world records in the S10 category. That's how multi-class points work. How paraswimmers can race against each other from opposite classes. It's an aggregate point system based on how quick they were related to their class's world record. For the S6 swimmers, they're all obviously chasing the same one in the same class. Xian Yuan's world record from London. It's very, very quick, mine's at 5:13. Let's take a look then at the finish. Ellie Simmons is just going to get there. And a really, really good swim from Ellie too. 5:29.94, just touching out Maisie Summers-Newton. Grace Harvey didn't quite manage to keep up that relentless pace that Ellie and Maisie set. But I think she'll be really pleased with her work, will Grace. It's nice work from Ellie Simmons to go 5:30. And it will be Ellie who takes the victory in terms of multi-class points. Lovely to see them back in action. All got a real sense of camaraderie in the paraswimming team. All train here at the Manchester Aquatic Centre. All very used to one another's company. Even more so, I think, during the last year or so. We've got plenty more on the way for you. That's our first two finals out of the way. The next one coming up is the men's 400 freestyle. And then it's the women's 50 backstroke. Paraswimming races in both of those events too. First comes the men's 400 free. Out they go onto the pool deck. Luke Turley's ever in lane number one. William Bell now at Loughborough goes in lane 2. Max Litchfield's in 3. He looked smooth this morning. So too did Daniel Jervis, looked brilliant. Really, really strong swim from him. Felix Alberg from Austria is in lane 5. Toby Robinson in 6. And then the outsiders in 7 and 8, Kieran Bird and Daniel Whiffen. This is an international event. Clue is in the name, but there aren't any flyers into this event, obviously due to the current restrictions. There are plenty of swimmers, we'll see a few of them tonight, who are representing their countries in this international event. But they are all based in the UK, based out of various universities, and are considered elite by their own federations. That's the case for Felix Alberg of Austria in lane 5. Got the better of Max Litchfield earlier on, did Felix. And he take on Daniel Jervis in lane 4, who looked brilliant in his race earlier. The man from Swansea. And the boys are back in town in the 400 free. Away they go. It's a great start, isn't it, by Max Litchfield, who's really got off well. Man who's used to swimming 400s. Primarily an IM swimmer is Max Litchfield, but definitely got the quality of technique and the aggression and power required to be a top quality 400 freestyler as well. Jervis just starting to take over. Looks like it'll be between those three. Could be a good race this at the 100 metre stage. Long, long way to go, minds. It's Jervis just in front of Alberg and Litchfield. Yeah, this is close. It really is. It's Jervis who maintains a 2/10 lead, but it looked closer than that as they turned into the wall. As they approach the halfway stage here in the 400 freestyle final. It's now Alberg of Austria who leads at the halfway point in lane 5. Jervis and Litchfield will do well to go with him. He's just starting to lengthen the stroke right here, isn't he? Here's Felix. The challenge has been handed down. Can Jervis and Litchfield go with him? Very warm welcome to all of you tuning in on the live stream, wherever you may be. And Stephen Jameson here guiding you through all weekend's action here at the Arena Manchester International Meet 2021. Competitive swimming, haven't we missed it? And this event is stacked full of top quality. A big effort to get this event on, and so far the swimmers have delivered with their performances. A big collaboration with British Swimming, City Manchester swim team, facility operator and the event sponsor, as well as the City Council. So many moving parts just to make sure this event can happen. And so far, I'm sure you'll agree, the action has lived up to it. Felix Alberg is going to take the victory here. in lane 5. And he looks really, really good from the moment he struck out at 200 metres. 3:48.04 for Felix. Daniel Jervis just outside of 3:50, touches out Max Litchfield by 100th of a second. Both of them just share a nod to each other on the blocks there. It's a reference point from which to work. Great swim from Felix Auberg. Swims out of Loughborough University does Felix. Austrian Olympian. Been on that national team for a number of years now. Swam in Rio in 2016. And had a very good college career over in the States as well, before finding himself at Loughborough University to continue his preparations for what will be his second Olympic Games. Looking pretty good, at least on that evidence. We do have another men's 400 freestyle to bring you. It's the paraswimming final. Very similar to the women's event. We've got 3 swimmers all in the same class and 1 outlier. There's Ollie Hines, Jonathan Booth, Jacob Leach and Michael Jones. Jones an S7 swimmer. All the other 3 are in the S9 class, so they are directly racing.
In lane number 3, representing Nova Centurion, Oliver Hine. In 4, representing Borough of Kirklees, Jonathan Booth. In 5, representing
And a similar sort of sentiment to Eddie Simmons earlier. It's lovely to see Ollie Hines still going. He's been doing it for such a long time now, it feels like.
Your finalists in the men's mixed classification of 400 metre freestyle.
Always good to see him. He's a great character. Sport's better off for having him in it. So the paraswimming final up on deck. Ollie Hine 3, Jonathan Booth 4, Jacob Leach 5, Michael Jones 6. Well, a strong start being made in lane 5 by Jacob Leach. He, Booth and Hind all racing one another in the S9 class. Again, a multi-class event, so chasing the world record time set by Brendan Hall of Australia. That one was set in 2013 in Montreal. It's a very quick one as well, it's worth pointing out. 4:09 is the world record they're looking to get close to. Mikey Jones, he's chasing the one that was more recently set in London by Mark Malliot, 4:33.64. Whoever's closest to the respective world record will win the race. Ollie Hind, by the way, is still the world record holder in the S8 class. He was reclassified a couple of years ago. And That time of 4:19 for the S8s is phenomenal. Showing that class for all of his swimming career, I seem to remember, until relatively recently. He's right up there with the other two S9s here, Booth and Leach. Approaching the halfway stage. And it's Leach who leads. 2:12.39, the winning split at 200. Michael Jones going along really quickly, only 10 seconds behind him. If he can keep that pace, he's on for a really good time. I do feel it might be a positive split from Jones, going up very quickly. Still plenty to come as well on our slate this evening. We've got 50 backstroke next, where we'll see a really good lineup, actually headlined by Georgia Davies. In that final, we'll then have the multi-class final, which just sees one swimmer, Ellie Chalice, try and break her British record that she broke earlier on this morning. Then it's men's 200 backstroke time. Got the girls 200 fly, the men's 100 fly, women's 200 breast, which is an all-star cast, followed by the men's 100 metre breaststroke. Adam Peaty and James will be making their respective returns. We end the night with some 50 metre freestyles. In towards the final 50 then, and it is still Jacob Leach who leads the way. That gap is now just starting to increase on Booth and then Hind. And towards the finish they go then. Looks like it will be Leach under the flags who will take the victory. And he certainly will in the yellow hat of Cockermouth. 4:29.82 the winning time. 794 multi-class points. I have a feeling it's very tricky, the maths, don't worry about that, but I have a feeling Michael Jones might just win this. Yeah, he does. 826. 4:51 for Mikey Jones. Couldn't quite keep the pace that he had in the first 200. He went out very quickly. Just faded a fraction in the back 200. He was on for a very quick swim if he'd have kept that pace, but didn't think it was all that possible. He does win the race, does Mikey Jones. More multi-class points. Nicely done. The City of Manchester aquatic swimmer. Been representing the team based at this pool for a long time now as Jones. In come the backstroke ledges. 50 metre backstroke up on deck first for the women, and then we'll have the men's 200 backstroke. Two headliners in these races, Georgia Davies and Luke Greenbank.
welcome to poolside your finalists in the women's 50-metre backstroke.
There's the first swimmer in this event, Honey Osrin from Plymouth Leander. Lauren Cox alongside her. It's Georgia in lane 4. Louise Hansen of Sweden alongside her. We'll see Louise a little bit later on as well, going the 50 freestyle. Very good sprinter. Here's the Swedes. Harriet West and Chloe Golding make up the rest of the fields. You can see just from the build of Louise Hansen, she's built like a sprinter. Long limbs give her a lot of leverage on the water. And Georgia Davies has been there and done it. Wonderful backstroker. She's got a work cut out in this one. She emerges last as they make their way towards home, and it's going to be between those two in the middle lanes. It's quite a close finish, at least 15 metres out as they come towards home. Looks to me like Louise Hansen might be using those long levers to just sneak a touch here on Georgia Davies. It's going to go right down to the wall. I think it's Georgia who gets there. It is 28.56, just in front of Louise Hansen. I have a feeling that's a faulty touchpad on Louise's part there. I think she was much closer. But I think it was Georgia who got the first touch. I'm hearing the result is subject to a check, which I'm sure will be in lane 5. Louise was right up there. We are just waiting for that official time to be confirmed. And it has been now, I can tell you. Just making its way through into our graphics system. It's Georgia Davies who got the win, 400ths of a second in front of Louise Hansen. I thought it looked close. And Louise in second place there, giving Georgia a real run for her money. And Lauren Cox tucking in behind in third place as well. Good swim from Honey Osrin, the outsider, and the youngster from Plymouth Leander. Well, here comes the multi-class race in the 50 backstroke for the girls. Just one swimmer. So I'm hoping the swimmers and coaches inside the arena will help get behind Ellie Chalice. S3 swimmer, originally based down in Clacton. She swims up here now at the National Centre, and I was speaking to Chris Ferber a little bit earlier on. One of the head honchos up at British Para Swimming, who said the leaps and bounds that Ellie has come on has been brilliant since moving up here and going full time, as it were, with the national programme. Let's see what Ellie can produce. She swam a British record earlier on this morning in her heat swim. What can she do this time around? A previous British record was set at the World Championships in 2019. That was her first international meet. She went 58.91. this morning, she went 57.52. What can she produce in her final, which she will have prepped just like the others? Slower in the heats, quickest in the final. All eyes on the clock for Ellie Chalice. Actually managed to have a little chat with Ellie as she finished her race and made her way back up onto the balcony here. And she had a bit of a problem with her jacket initially in that first race, and it was a full lineup across the lanes. She said the frustration of making everyone wait helped her take it out on the water. At this rate, I don't think she needs much more of that. This is quick from Ellie Chalice. It's going to be another British record. What a swim from Ellie Chalice. 55.61. Breaks her British record twice in one day. Great swim from Ellie. Came into the meet with a world record, with a British record, I should say, set at the World Championships of 58.91. She's going to leave the opening day with a new British record of 55.61. 3.2 seconds off her personal best and her British record in one day. Great work from Ellie Chalice. She'll be delighted with that. As well she should be.
A reminder for all swimmers that are in the seating area of the
Did mention a little bit earlier on, this event been put on with a lot of help from the City of Manchester Council, and here's some of their stories as we move on with this event.
My name's Daisy and I'm 10 years old. Well, it's changed because we have done lots of Zoom calls instead of actually seeing people, and in lockdown it was mostly just backing up a bit from the
Okay, we're going to go back to the gents. Going to crack on. Please welcome to poolside the finalists in the
Oh, he cut short our
Backstroke.
message from the young lady there, but with good reason. Now ready to go down on poolside. It's the men's 200 metre backstroke, just the one race in this one.
National Centre,
Jonathan Adam out in lane number 1.
National Centre,
Elliot Clogg alongside him with Charlie Brown in lane 3. There's Luke Greenbank, one of 4 swimmers to be pre-selected for Tokyo 2020. Brady Williams is alongside him. That's Jacob Greenow in the blue hat of Bath. Cam Brooker alongside him, and James McFadden on the outside. We talked a little bit earlier on this morning about Luke Greenbank and what it meant to him to be heading to Tokyo. Really is a really big opportunity for him, and he goes there as one of the best in the world. The 4 that have been pre-selected, 3 of them are here this weekend. We've got obviously Luke here in the 200 backstroke. James Wilby's here, so too Adam Peaty. All racing tonight. The other of the 4 is Duncan Scott. So what can Luke Greenbank produce then in the final tonight? He looked very good in the morning race, I must say. 158.84 was very, very decent indeed. He's the current world bronze medalist in this event. mentioned earlier on this morning, I struggled to find someone who isn't really pleased for Luke and his progression over the last few years. He was something of a child prodigy, breaking the junior world record back in 2015, and just didn't quite live up to that hype initially. Transition into senior swimming wasn't as easy. He was a dominator at world junior level, but just took his time to get there at senior level. But he has now arrived, no doubt about that. Bronze at the World Championships in this event. Part of the gold medal winning relay team, that all-star of GB's mixed medley. And of course, one of the 4 swimmers, only 4, pre-selected to head out to Tokyo. Big honour for Luke Greenbank. One of them know he's very humbled and overjoyed really to accept. Means an awful lot to him. And he's looking to do everything he can to make sure he's in peak condition for when those games eventually roll around. And he's looking very, very strong indeed. Luke Greenbank touches in. We will wait for that time. 1:56.33 is what I've got, which is not bad going for Luke Greenbank. Really isn't.
Third place in this final, Charlie Brown.
It's not far off his British record there, only about 4 or 5 tenths. So he's looking in pretty rude nick, is Luke Greenbank. Brody Williams also goes sub 2 minutes. Very fine swim from him. He gets second place. Charlie Brown in third. A super swim there from Luke Greenbank, who continues his very diverted road to Tokyo. He'll be pleased with his evening's work, will Luke Greenbank. We take the backstroke ledgers away, and it's the turn of the ladies once more as we move into the women's 200 fly. 5 swimmers in this final. And once again, the shared spaces are sprayed down. No corners cut at this event at all. It's been impressive to watch. It's a huge operation for what in theory is a very small event in terms of athletes. We're used to seeing hundreds upon hundreds compete over weekends like this. Here come the ladies in the 200 fly. Led out by Isabel Goodwin of the City of Leeds. Kira Schlossan goes in lane 3. Used to be a City of Leeds swimmer herself until she moved to the Bath National Centre.
City of Leeds, Isabel Goodwin. In 3, representing Bath National Centre, Kira Schlossan.
Alongside her in lane 4 is Laura Stevens. She's the headliner in this one, 2:10.41 this morning. And she'll be going head-to-head with Emily Large of Newcastle. Sophie Freeman, the youngster from Plymouth Leander, goes in lane 6. Plenty of high hopes for Sophie in her fledgling swimming career. She's got a few years on the more senior swimmers in the middle lanes, but she's not too far away in terms of time, which is why hopes are so high. And away in racing. It's a good start from Laura Stevens, who will lead the way at the first 50. Schlossan and Large not too far behind. Got the men's 100 fly to follow this one, where James Guy makes his return in lane 4, and then the two breaststroke events, which I'm really looking forward to. The women's 200 is a terrific lineup all the way across the field, really. And then PTV will be in the men's 100. Laura Stevens is heading towards the 150 metre mark here, well in front at this stage of Schlossan and Large. Going pretty well is Laura Stevens. Second and a half in front of Schlossan, even further in front of Emily Large. Large is just biting back in this back 50. And it might be enough to regain second place, but it's not going to be enough to catch Laura Stevens, who is storming to victory here under the flags and into the wall. An excellent swim from Laura Stevens, stops the clock at 2:08.88. Great swim from Laura Stevens.
Final in the first part of this final session. We're going to go to a break very shortly. Confirmation, Laura Stevens at 2:08.88. Half a second separating Large and Schlossan in second and third. So that is
a great first half of this event so far tonight. Laura Stevens closing out the first session really of the evening with a great swim, 2:08.88. And we've got plenty more on the way for you later on tonight as well. We reopen with the breaststrokes. Sorry, we reopen actually with the men's 100 fly, then the breaststrokes, and then the freestyle. 7 finals still to bring you. We'll resume at 7 p.m. sharp. We look forward to welcoming you back then. In the meantime, pop the kettle on and make sure you're back with us for the 100 fly and the breaststrokes. You are not going to want to miss them.
My name's Daisy and I'm 10 years old. Oh, well, It's changed because we have done lots of Zoom calls instead of actually seeing people, and in lockdown it was mostly just like backing up a bit from the door, knocking on like your family's houses and like just saying hi to them and seeing how they are, and then not being able to give them a cuddle. It's not very fun anymore. Made me feel very sad not knowing that I can run up to my grandma or my Nana Jean and my Nana Jean's partner Alan, just making sure I can give them a big cuddle, but I can't now. We have seen her one time. We went up for the day and had like a little picnic there, and then we went back into lockdown, so we can't see her now, and we don't want to go round, give them something and make them ill, and then we're the ones who have gave it them. And she keeps sending me cards because I can't see her, and in the card she's gave me little quizzes and little games to do, and it's very nice for her to do that. And I send her little cards back, or if we've not got any cards or anything, I just call her and say thanks for it, and I'll try and get it back to you. I miss her very, 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 very much. Everyone's moaning about it and wanting it to go away so they can see their friends and their family, but the only way we can do that is making sure you're social distancing, wearing a mask and sanitising your hands and washing them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going down to my Nana Jean's, giving them a big cuddle and getting everything back to normal, like making sure I can go swimming, I can go to a trampoline park, and I can do all the fun stuff again and just get life back to normal. Even if you're getting bored at home, you've probably got loads of things that you can do. You can make stuff, and you just need to do your bit in making sure you're keeping everyone else safe, and that's how we can get back to normal. This is one of the letters from my Nana Jean. Hi Daisy. I hope you're being a good girl for your mummy. I wish I could come down and see you, but as soon as all these things go away and it's safe for me to travel on the train, I will. I will come down and sleep at your house, and maybe we could go on a walk in the park. Love you loads, love you very much, Nana Jean, Alan.
My name's Jill, I'm 55 and I work in a care home. Difficult, hard, because obviously families can't come in now, can't see their relatives can't go out and spend time with their families. And I think it's been difficult because they've not really understood why they've not been able to, see their, daughter, son, granddaughter. It's been quite difficult. Sometimes families have come to the window, to see their relative, and it's that touching. That's what, they're not getting, that's what they're missing. So to see a relative on one side of the window and, we're with the resident on the other side, and all they can do is put the hand on the window. So it can be quite upsetting, quite emotional to see that. Sometimes, especially after a 12-hour day, I go home and obviously I'm there by myself. I have a little cry, but then I just kind of like, nope, soldier it up. Tomorrow's another day. It is tiring, and I get that you're getting fed up. I think if we all work together, carry on doing what we're supposed to be doing, and then we'll come out of it soon. And then all these families that, they'll be able to come back together again. So if we work together, then families that have been apart can come together.
Hi, I'm Sid. I use he, him pronouns. I'm 19 and I'm a student. I get a lot of enjoyment from seeing other people, so I'm very social. I see people quite a lot, and there was definitely a lot more of meeting up with people after lectures or going to a coffee shop or something. I never really went like out drinking or something much, but I think the biggest difference is kind of the university side of it, seeing people in campus or meeting up with them. The fact that most classes are online is a huge change, because I mean, we're used to being in a lecture hall full of people, and you can't kind of turn around and speak to whoever's next to you. And I don't know, I found actually engaging with the work material harder, because if there's something I don't get, I have to wait till after the lecture and then ring my friend and be like, oh, what was this about? And generally not having been on campus, like, you're kind of stuck in your room all day rather than wandering around different buildings or sitting in a park or something. I've definitely felt very lonely. I think isolation is one of my biggest triggers for some of my mental health issues, and I've definitely felt it. I think it would kind of be rare to meet a student who hasn't had some kind of struggle with it. I mean, in general, students' mental health tends to be bad anyway, but it's definitely worse at the moment, and I think most people are affected by it. Most of the time don't have any control over who your flatmates are. So I know people that kind of had a couple flatmates, but they've gone back home, so they're the only one, and it's definitely affecting mental health badly.
I'm Barry, I'm 71 and retired. I was working as a steward at Manchester City, so you know I was getting loads of games, regular games. I was playing my walking football, fishing, you know. So I was quite busy seeing my grandchildren, babysitting for my granddaughter. Generally just running around after my children, my grandkids. Well, it came to a full stop really, because the football finished, so I had no work. That was difficult, because from being active to doing virtually nothing, like I couldn't go fishing, I couldn't do my walking football. So yeah, it just came to a complete stop. In that job, you're meeting people, you're socialising, right? You're having a laugh with the fans that come in, and all of a sudden that just went. So virtually on my own, because you couldn't see anybody to talk to. So it was difficult, very difficult. I finished up doing like 30 press-ups a day just for something to do. It's difficult, but it has to be done. If we're going to beat this, we need to all stick to the rules. And it's hard not socialising. You know, it's part of our human nature to mix with people. But we just need to stand strong and firm and stick to the rules. When things are back to normal, I'd like to go and see my family again, relax with my family, you know, in the house, in the garden, you know, go back to my football, get back to work, you know, and generally just to socialise as we used to, and not be afraid of being, you know, this 2 metre distance, you know, having a proper conversation, shaking hands with people, hugging people, you know, they're all the things that we're missing. It's difficult, but that's my hopes anyway.
I'm Beryl, I'm 73 and retired. Now I'm widowed. I did have 4 students staying with me from all over the world. In fact, we've done this for many years, and up until March this year I had 4 in the house. And so life was busy. I had a lot of things outside of the house I'm involved in. And then suddenly in March, because I had to shield, I had to say to my students, sorry, you're going to have to go and find somewhere else, which was very sad. Then all my activities stopped, and for the first time really in many years, I was on my own. I felt very vulnerable, and in fact, in many ways, I still feel vulnerable. I never thought I would. I always thought, oh, well, I can cope, and, you know, it doesn't matter what happens, I'll get through. I felt forgotten. There was a lot of talk about people on the television and such like, but I suddenly felt forgotten. Well, first of all, I gave myself a good talking to. I'm very good at that. and then I thought, right, I've got, 18 hours when I'm not asleep. That's got to be filled with something, or I'm going to sit here and wallow in self-pity, loneliness, and vulnerability. I'd always been a gardener, but my garden became important, and of course we had a glorious spring, which did help. And I took up hobbies of embroidery. I started writing a course for psychology for my U3A group, and before I knew it, it was sort of 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I thought, this is going to work. I think we've got to look at the positive. It will come to an end. All the pandemics eventually do. If you can, keep in touch with people via the phone, via Skype, via Zoom. I have about 16 meetings of Zoom a month at the moment. Look ahead, think of others, and think, okay, what I'm doing now is actually helping.
A very warm welcome back to the Manchester International Swim Meet 2021. We are just around about a couple of minutes away from seeing our next race in the water. Kick off with the men's 100 metres butterfly final. James Guy, the headliner, in lane 4. After that, we've got a couple of breaststroke races which will absolutely whet the appetite. The women's 200 breaststroke with a fantastic lineup of really good British swimmers. And then the men's 100 metres breaststroke with Adam Peaty and James Wilby going toe-to-toe.
Butterfly, women's 200 breaststroke, men's 100 breaststroke, women's 50 metre free, women's 50 metre mixed classification freestyle, men's 50 freestyle and men's also.
And the swimmers are making their way out onto the pool deck. Led out by Jacob Greenout. Swims for Bath University. He's got Andreas Vazaios next to him. He's representing Greece. Swims at Loughborough.
Number 1 representing Bath University, Jacob Greenout. Number 2 representing Greece, Andreas Vazaios.
Edward Mildred is next to him in lane 3. There's Jimmy Guy in lane 4. Jacob Peters alongside him. Two Bath National Centre swimmers alongside each other. Joe Litchfield goes in lane 6. And Tom Dean is in lane 7. Looking forward to seeing what James Guy can produce. This one of his 2 main events. He used to swim what felt like the whole programme, but he's narrowed it down in recent years. 100 fly is something he is exceptionally good at. He was 7th at the World Championships in Guangzhou, Korea, in 2019. Of course, part of that World Championship gold medal winning relay team as well. Plenty of international medals down the years for James Guy. Originally from this neck of the woods, he knows this pool very, very well before moving down to the Bath National Centre a good few years ago now. What can he produce in this 100 fly final? He's got decent competition either side of him as well, with Ed Mildred and Jacob Peters to keep them honest. Joe Litchfield and Tom Dean away to his right, as they now will be, will give him a pretty good race too. But it is James Guy who leads the way, just in front of Jacob Peters. Back in towards the final 20 metres or so. Come towards the wall. And it will be James Guy who will hold off all comers and take the victory in 52.46. 1/10 of a second quicker than his time this morning. Little way off his personal best, which is the British record at 50.67. And a decent swim all told from James Guy, who gets the victory in the 100 metre fly final. Confirmed results available for you now. It's Guy, Mildred and Peters, the 1, 2, 3. I wonder if you're just joining us, there's no medals on the line in this event. It is in that sense a sort of de facto time trial, but it is a recognised event. All the times will be official on the world stage. for whatever they may swim. I've already seen a couple of records so far today. Ellie Chalice, 2 British records back-to-back in her heat and final this evening, taking 3 seconds off her previous record set back at the 2019 World Championships in London. And Jordan Catchpole breaking the British record in the S14's 50 freestyle as well. It stood for a little while, and it's a great swim from Jordan. Next race up on will women's 200 metre breaststroke final. Such a good lineup this, it really is. Just quality wherever you look through the pool. Chloe Tutton out in lane 1. One of the big hitters of the youth scene, Kayla Mandavoa, is on the other side. And all things point into the middle of the pool, where she is just making her way past. Molly Renshaw will be the main threat in this one in lane 4. Chloe Tutton then over in lane 1. Booker, the youngster from Millfield, is next to her. Abby Wood goes in lane 3 next to her teammate Molly Renshaw, who will be the one to beat. Jocelyn Elliott, who broke out a couple of years ago at the British Championships, breaking the British records, goes in lane 5. Katie Matz swims at City of Manchester Aquatics. This is her home pool, originally at Stockport Metro, which was where she came through first. And Kayla van der Merwe is in lane 7. Great lineup then, really is, in the 200 metres breaststroke final for the women. Tutton in 1, Booker in 2, Wood 3, Renshaw 4, Williet in 5, Matt in 6, and Moa in 7. And away they go. Last to emerge was lane 5's Jocelyn Ulliet. Renshaw already up into her stroke, but Abby Wood is the one who's got the quickest start. Her fellow Loughborough swimmer. Wouldn't be a huge surprise to see Abby Wood go very close to winning this one. Phenomenal swimmer in seemingly whatever she swims. Really versatile and talented athlete. Was just starting to really knock on the door of some big performances before lockdown ensued. Tokyo Games was doubtless what she will have earmarked, and she still will be. And it's the 2 Loughborough swimmers then who lead the way at the halfway stage. It's Renshaw from Wood, from Mats in 3rd, but it's a pretty much blanket 3rd at the moment between Van der Merwe, Mats and Ulliet. A little bit further back are Tutton and Booker on the far side. Molly Renshaw so far, smooth and strong. As we turn for home, it's 4/10 and change the lead for Molly Renshaw. What can she produce? Came 6th in this event back in Rio in 2016. 5th in Gwangju in 2019. She'll be hoping to make the step up to the podium when it comes for Tokyo. What sort of time can we be dealing with, I wonder, as we come in towards the wall? 2:22.08 from Molly Renshaw. That is a brand new PB as well for Molly. Fantastic swim. That's a personal best that has been a long, long time in the making. 2:22.33 was her previous, and that was set back in 2016. A massive new PB for Molly Renshaw, who gets the win over Abby Wood and Jocelyn Elliott. It's an all Loughborough virtual podium. But that's a fantastic swim from Molly Renshaw, who looks in, well, rude nick. In fact, it's actually tied the British record, which was broken, as I mentioned, by Jocelyn Elliott a couple of years ago when she burst out on the scene. In Sheffield in 2017. 2:22.08 was that time, and that's been matched by Molly Renshaw. So close to the British record outright, but she does tie it. What she has done is really set down a marker for her 2021. It's a big, big new personal best for Molly Renshaw. Terrific swim from her. Safe to say the 200 metres breaststroke for the girls certainly delivered. The 100 metres men's race is coming up next. A couple of the athletes need no introduction. We are not far away from seeing the return on these shores of the main man. He's got some decent competition around him, not least the man behind him, but there is the man himself, Adam Peaty, the greatest breaststroker of all time. ...2020 was a strange year for just about everyone. For Adam Peaty, it was a very special year, became a father in September. And on his return to the pool and return to competitive action, we're about to see what the big man has in the tank. He's got competition around him, not least from the man next to him, James Wilby, who was second behind him in the World Championships in 2019, already pre-qualified for the Tokyo Games. And there's plenty of talent elsewhere in this pool as well. Easy to forget that when you've got the two quickest swimmers in the world at this discipline, that the swimmers around them are very, very good standards as well. Greg Butler, David Murphy, Carl Booth and Archie Goodburn will be just trying to cling to the ankles of Adam Peaty and James Wilby. In so many ways, the introduction of Peaty and Wilby were very similar to each other. Both seemed to start late. They weren't youth prodigies by any means. James will be breaking through the year after the Olympics. Adam Peaty had already established himself as one of the greats at that stage, the year after Rio. But we are underway. And I think all eyes in the swimming world are on this race right now. What can Adam Peaty produce in the 100 metres breaststroke to reach the 50 metres? He's out quick in 27.3. Will be nearly a second back already, but Wilby did start slow this morning too to bring it back. He's a strong finisher, is Wilby. It's always a worrying sign when Peaty starts quickly, because if he gets the start right, he really is a phenomenal swimmer through the gears. There is no one on earth who can live with him. And Adam Peaty in towards the wall here, all eyes on the clock. He's going to be a little outside of his world record time, but a welcome return to competition. 58.82 to Adam Peaty. James Wilby 60.15. Marginally quicker than what he went this morning. Same to Vapiti by 0.05 of a second. And elsewhere, third place goes to Gregory Butler at the Loughborough National Centre. 61.78 for him, just in front of David Murphy. Well, the big man's back. It's lovely to see. 58.82. Relatively, and I use that word very strongly, relatively slow by his quite ridiculous standards, but 58.82 is still a ridiculously quick time. And a good one just to blow out the cobwebs. Be an interesting preparation for these race meets nowadays with a young'un. Came father last September, as I mentioned, to George Anderson. But at his heart, Adam Peaty is a competitor. He loves racing. He's been a great ambassador in the lockdown months as well. He's one of the faces of the sport in the UK. Talk about things like mental health and physical health as well in a lockdown environment. Great ambassador for the sport and for himself, and now his youngster as well. But he'll be pleased to have got the benchmark at least out the way. He now knows where he's at and what he's looking like. Talked a little bit in the build-up to this event about confidence. I mean, it is difficult to gauge where you're at as a swimmer without events. It's all well and good swimming well in training, but until you do it at a real race, it is almost, or at least the thinking has always been it's always irrelevant until you do it on a race stage. It might have to change this year. We spoke about that and finding confidence from training rather than races, but I think you can pick up a little bit of confidence from that performance anyway. 58.82 for Adam Peaty on his return on these shores. We've got 4 more races to bring you. We start with the women's 50 metre freestyle final. Georgia Coates out in lane 1 is flanked by Imogen Clark. Freya Anderson goes in lane 3, which is a pretty good indicator of how quick the heats were this morning. Anna Hopkin is in lane 4. Marie Wattel of France goes in 5. She swims out of Loughborough University. Got a chance to represent her country at this international meet. Likewise, Louise Hansen. Honey Osrin and Harriet Rogers, the 2 youngsters in 8 and 6 respectively. It was a great swim from Harriet Rogers actually earlier on. 25.89. Had confirmation, by the way, of the swim from Molly Renshaw earlier, confirmed as a British record equaler. And congratulations to Molly, who looked fantastic in that 200 breaststroke final. This will be over a touch quicker. Women's 53, the long levers of Marie Wattel leading the way in lane number 5, but Anna Hopkins going to have something to say about that. She's a strong finisher, powerful through the water as they come to the wall. It looks like Marie has her number for the time being, though. It's a really good swim from Marie Wattel, 24.75. Anna Hopkin in second place, 25.19. A little bit slower than she was this morning. Marie Wattel, 24.75. Very impressive performance from the French athlete. Anna Hopkin in second, Freya Anderson in third. Barely a hair's breadth between them, 0.03 of a second. But impressive performance from Marie Wattel, France. She takes the win in the 50 freestyle. Women's 53 is coming up in a moment as well, as the Paris swimmers get involved. That's our next race up on deck here. Looking forward to this one. Leading them out is Ellie Robinson. She'll go in lane number 2, followed by Zara Maluli, Hannah Russell, Louise Fidders, Katie Crowhurst and Leah O'Connell. There is Ellie Robinson, British record holder in this event, set back in 2018, 34.09. Zara Maluli is also a British record holder in the S10 class, 28.22, and Hannah Russell likewise a British record holder in the S12, 27.01. Louise Fidders swims in the S14 class for Hatfield in lane 5. Katie Crowhurst is in lane 6, youngster from Wickham District, S13 swimmer. And Leah O'Connell goes in lane 7, the S7 swimmer. Hannah Russell, who's been swimming in this pool for years now, knows it very, very well. Looked fantastic earlier on in the heats, when she's on 28.81, riding on the coattails of some of the really quick freestylers around her. Now it's time to put it all into the mix. She's capable of going 27 seconds. She swam that back in 2016. Multiple world and Paralympic medalist Hannah Russell. She will be the quickest to the wall, or eyes on the clock rather. Louise Fidders will give her a run for her money, the S14 swimmer in lane 5. Let's take a look at these as they come in then. It will be Hannah Russell. Let's see how quick she's feeling. It's 28.41 for Hannah Russell. Zara Maluli 29.08 is very, very quick indeed. Ellie Robinson out on the far side is going to go in 36.37. So some pretty good swims all told there. Maybe a little bit further off where they'd each like to be, but past performances, record swims often came in big world championships and Paralympic games for these girls. As the confirmed results on multi-class system, it's Hannah Russell who wins the race, 28.41. Very nicely done indeed from Hannah. A little bit quicker than where she was this morning, which is always a boost. So 2 more races to come then. We've got the men's 50 free and then the men's multi-class 50 free as well to round off the first day of the Manchester International meet. It's flown by, let me tell you. I must say, it has just been great to be back. I mentioned earlier it was a real privilege and an honour really to be here, as the competitive swimming world makes its return in Great Britain. Some fantastic swims, but also plenty to be admired off the pool as well, as the sheer effort just to get this event on by various different groups and various different people has been really, really impressive. Time then for the men's 53 final. Archie Goodburn of Loughborough in 2. Harry Constantine of Hatfield in 3. Jacob Whittle in 4. Matthew Richards in 5. Joe Litchfield in 6. William Riley in 7.
Constantine. 4 representing Dementio, Jacob Whittle. In 5 representing Welsh Independence, Matthew Richards. Lane 6, Loughborough University's Joe Litchfield. And in lane number 7, Bath University's William Riley. Your finalists in the men's 50-metre freestyle.
Almost ready to go then in the men's 53. Goodburn, Constantine, Whittle, Richards, Litchfield and Riley. Jacob Whittle in lane 4, the headliner in this one. A bit of a slow start from Whittle, didn't get away great. Wearing his ISL clobber in this event, representing the New York Breakers in the ISL in Budapest recently. As we come towards the wall, it is going to be lane 5, and that start's going to cost Whittle. It's Matthew Richards who gets there, 23.06. Whittle just couldn't bring that back. Had a pretty good go at it, mind, with 23.33. He was only 2.5 tenths back, but the damage was done off the start, really. Matthew Richards got away so well. Likewise, Joe Litchfield. And it was just too difficult for Jacob Whittle to come back from that one. When the race is only 50 metres and only 20 seconds long, the start so important, and Matthew Richards there got away beautifully. Penultimate race then is done and dusted, and we have one more race to bring you. It's the men's multi-class 50 freestyle. Three swimmers coming up in it, including a brand new British record holder as well in Jordan Catchpole. Swimmers making their way out on poolside. Lyndon Longhorn in lane 3, S5 swimmer, based out of Derwent side. There's Jordan Catchpole next to him, he swims in the S14 class. Set a British record this morning to Jordan. Next to him is Dylan Broom, the Welshman from Torfan. Jordan Catchpole, as I mentioned, a fantastic swim earlier on. Broke a British record that has stood for best part of 4 years. Previously held by Senor Thomas of Swansea. And it's come back to England with Catchpole's time earlier. Of 24.73. It was 25.15, so it took a good chunk off it. Can you do in this race to round us off for day 1 of the Manchester International Swim Meet? Worth pointing out, as ever, the classes of the athletes. Lyndon Longhorn is an S5 swimmer. He will be last to finish, but may well end up winning the race on points. Jordan Catchpole and Dylan Broom, both in the same category and classification. They are racing against each other. And as you can see, Jordan Catchpole off like a shot. eyes on the clock really for Jordan Catchpole. What sort of swim can he produce, I wonder?
Two classifications, S5 for Lyndon Longhorn and S14.
In they come then, and it's 24.73 for Jordan Catchpole. He's repeated the trick. He swam exactly the same time that he swam earlier. Some effort to go the same time exactly twice in a day, but his British record is equalled, and Lyndon Longhorn comes in 46.54. So a great effort from Jordan Catchpole, who for the second time in a day sets 24.73.
For the final time today, Jordan Catchpole, S14, 850 points from lane number 4, and that rounds out the swimming for day.
Confirm results to end the day here in Manchester. Jordan Catchpole with the winner.
Officials and referees, thank you for your sterling work. You may now leave your stations. Of course, you can stay there if you want to. We are letting you go. Of course, see you back at the hotel.
And that will just about do us then for day number 1 of the Manchester International Swim Meet. Really has been a privilege and a pleasure to bring you day 1. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning for day 2 and the day after for day 3 as well. We really hope you've enjoyed the coverage. The swimmers have certainly lived up to their end of the bargain with some fantastic swims as well. We've seen a few British records. First from Ellie Chalice with 2 British records in the S350 back. Then from Jordan Catchpole, who set her first British record in his heat this morning with the S14.53. And then this evening, Chalice and Catchpole did it once more, and we also saw Molly Renshaw tie the British record set by her Loughborough teammate Jocelyn Elliott a few years ago. Some brilliant swimming then on day number 1 of the Manchester International Swim Meet, and we'll do it all over again tomorrow. We look forward to welcoming you back for then. Swimming gets underway from 9:30 for the heats, and the same time again for the finals. Great to be back, ladies and gents. We'll see you tomorrow.